What's good, everybody? It's your girl Chanté, and thank you so much for tuning in to the 7th episode of TaeTalkTV. We here in New York, y'all. Yes, we are here in the Big Apple. And before I introduce my distinguished panel, I just want to say, please subscribe to TaeTalkTV. Y'all hit that bell so y'all don't miss future episodes. And be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I want to hear from you guys. I'll start with none other than our boy Marc Mo. My best friend of 10 years plus, Jordie Lewis. And then last but not least, our very own Kris Marshall.
Nice to see y'all.
All returning guests. And since we are in the Big Apple, I just want to say how y'all enjoying it. I know for some of y'all it's the first time. I think Marc, it's your first time.
It's my first time. I'm definitely enjoying it. It's definitely an experience. Definitely a lot different from LA. So different vibe, but just as big. So, but yeah, I've liked everything I've seen. I've loved it. Great time. Great vibe.
Nice.
I'm enjoying my return back to New York.
That's what's up. Well, you've been a few times, right? Or...
Yeah, Fashion Week and, model jobs here and there. New York definitely got style and I missed it. Definitely a place I can see myself living in.
I'd agree with that.
And anybody that knows me know I come every year. So this is probably like my 5th time. Because I love the city. Give me 2 years, I'll be moving here.
Yeah.
Come visit.
I think it's pretty interesting, Marc, that you said it's different from LA, because I would say my first time here, I thought it was quite similar in ways. Like, it's dirty. The homeless population is pretty high. Like, I know since we've been out here, we haven't seen as many homeless people, but my first time out here, y'all, I ended up having to spend the night in Times Square because I didn't know, like, the subway station, all that. I didn't know how long they ran. And I turned a corner, and it was just like an alley of just homeless people just laid out on anything they could sleep on, and it scared the shit out of me. It was just like, it was startling. It's a lot of homeless people here. But there are things I like better about New York. I think the people are a little more real, direct.
Very authentic.
It's very authentic.
A homey feeling here. Like you're welcomed.
A sense of community more so.
Yeah.
I can agree. I do feel kind of alone in LA. Or not as a black person per se, but it's just not that "what's up, brother" thing going on.
Heck yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys think the biggest difference, I guess, outside of no palm trees and
For me, honestly, the people.
Yeah. Also, it's a plus they get to experience the seasons. It does get super cold, but at least they get to. It's not summer 25-8 like how it is in LA.
Right.
Like, at least it gets to get cold and you put on the puffer. Maybe you want to dress a little different. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Which I'm cool on. I'm from Ohio, so I'm used to that. I know what that's like. Yeah. So I prefer that heat. that summer.
Over the weekend, we've been listening to some music, and we tuned into Big Sean's latest album. So I believe it was Detroit Part 2.
Yeah, Detroit 2.
Detroit 2.
Yeah.
And we've been listening to that. People have really been anticipating his next project just because it's been a while. And it was clear that he's still been visible while not putting out as much music.
Right.
Like his high profile relationship, just kind of that he was going through some things. Mm-hmm. Like he's still relevant, but it was like people were kind of waiting for him to drop. So
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
It's crazy because I wasn't at all. With me, it's like Big Sean, he elevated with this one. It showed me a lot. Mm-hmm. That's what it showed me. That he over time in his career, he got better and better and better. Because when I first heard him, I didn't think it was good at all. Honestly, the songs that most people think Big Sean is super popular for are trash to me.
Like which ones?
Yeah, that's all I'm about to say.
His commercial
All right, so really the most commercial ones, like So Good, that's fire. That song is fire. It's like maybe it's the delivery. I like that tone. I like how he was saying it. Some of the other songs is da 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 shana. I just wasn't really messing.
Like
with.
I don't fuck with you.
Yeah, I hate that song. That song is terrible. That's probably one of his worst songs to me.
Right.
But other than that, I seen the growth.
Okay.
And now with this one, it was like, oh, that's fire. You're not even gonna turn it.
I would say that I have maybe an opposite opinion of Big Sean because I was a fan in the beginning. Like I watched his growth. I remember my senior year of high school, them talking about the guys who were going to be up next, and it was definitely J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, and Big Sean. He was in that conversation.
Right.
And at one point of the new generation, I was holding him to a very high regard. Like I was saying, he was like number 4. Like he was kind of like Drake. You know, Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole have always kind of went back and forth in my top 5.
Right.
And then Big Sean, but then he kind of fell off to me after the he disappeared, and it just seemed like he didn't have that hunger for that top tier level of rap that he, you know.
Here, kind of like what I think about it, because I've started with like since the beginning as well, Big Sean fan. I think that, you know, he came, did what he had to do, and, you know, if he was trash, he wouldn't have got signed by Ye. First off, Kanye signed him, so right away, you know he has bars. He signed to good music, so, and people don't know that, like, Big Sean signed to good music right off the jump.
Real fans know.
You know, real fans.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I feel like what Big Sean did went more commercial, and it was just to gain a more audience. So when they say, like, when he disappeared for a while, he just was putting out more commercial singles, more commercial albums, just so he could grow more of a feature here and there, just so he could get more of a diverse fan base, I would say, because he already had the audience that he wanted to target. But when it comes to the money and everything that come with it, then he has to target, you know, of course, the audience, and that's how it is. That's how it's set up in the industry.
I would say he was always he always dabbled in commercial because he would do a song with Ariana Grande on like a Dark Sky Paradise. Like he was always trying to. It was like he always.
But people are like that's later in his career. Like people don't like Finally Famous. Like he has no features that nobody knows. Like he's featured.
Well, yeah, Chris Brown.
Okay, I'm talking about like Finally Famous came out twice. Like that's what I'm saying. Like he had 2 albums of Finally Famous. Finally Famous, like I said him to Fag, like with Chitty Chitty Bang. Like people don't even know people who was featured on this thing. Like he re-put out Finally Famous just for the audience. Like he took out some songs out that he had on the original Finally Famous and put different songs out there just for the media.
Yeah.
Like.
Good point, because Big Sean was working for his career a lot longer than people actually know.
100. When
Finally Famous came out, he had already been, kind of like Kendrick Lamar, he'd been working towards it.
Like, yeah.
So, yeah.
I think Big Sean's great. I've always thought he was great.
100.
I think he's a very authentic rapper, I guess you could say. Like, he's in his own lane. I don't think anybody is really competing with Big Sean because he has his own style, his own flow, his own bars, not bars, but you know what I mean. He delivers. Kind of like 2 Chainz has a certain way of
how he rap.
Yeah, it's like you know he has his own all that. But
2 Chainz.
I feel like it kind of hurts him though.
I didn't like this. Well, so far I haven't given it a fair listen. Yeah, I only listen to it with a group of people when I'm not paying attention. So I feel like I don't have a fair enough opinion. But so far, I would say this one for me was not his best. I feel like it was very monotone. It sounded the same the whole way through. It wasn't really nothing about it that stood out to me. Like with the one that we were just talking about, So Good like stands out because like okay, this is a whole different type of vibe.
See, to me, So Good was on that album that I didn't like that much. That was when I was kind of like Big Sean's falling off.
But I'm just saying, like, it doesn't have that song that makes me be like, oh, okay,
I thought the song with Lil Wayne was
that was the only one.
Oh my God.
That was the only one that I can vividly be like, I kind of remember that song.
Yeah.
You didn't like the song with
Nipsey Hussle.
What was the song with Lil Wayne? Just so for the people watching.
It was one where he said something about people growing old but not growing up. I thought that was a nice bar.
Did I
like the song?
Don Life
Lil Wayne. That song was really good. That was a standout record.
I have to give it another listen though, honestly.
That's true.
I want to give it another listen.
Because I agree with
like
you.
Big Sean.
I personally agree. Like I heard it and it was lackluster to me. Like I kind of just like it was underwhelming. But he did have some standouts to me, and I would say the song with Lil Wayne, Don Life was one.
I could agree with that.
I like the song with Nipsey Hussle, and it was actually just a good song. It wasn't even about Nipsey Hussle. I like the song with Janae. Maybe because I'm a girl.
I remember that one.
That's crazy because for somebody who doesn't even fuck with the artist, and now I'm like, yo, that was fire.
No, it was fire.
That's just why.
And I think you guys are a lot of just thinking mention just a lot of his songs that he featured someone on. Like that album had 22 songs and at least 15 of them are literally songs that you could listen to. of the 22. If anyone could put out, if anyone could put out an album, you could listen to 12 songs or more, then you did your job.
I thought it was.
I would say we're maybe as fans we just hold him to a really high standard, and it's like. While I do think that there were songs that I was like, this sounds good. It's like that replay value, like you know.
I didn't even know it was Big Sean at first. Remember, I was like, this is Big Sean.
I think that was him trying to step out of what people have been criticizing him for, which is like having that same flow that is like Detroit and offbeat.
Like, or I guess that's what the fans like, but that's not what
the critics.
Fans.
Yeah.
Well, now I would say it like this: in the positive notion, he's touching all bases now. If he still got your guys' attention and then a new fan. Then it's like, okay, now I can maybe the next project will be his old style. Yeah, I'll be up to hear the old style with the new. But to me, I don't know.
What is it? I don't know if you said what was it about Big Sean that you said you didn't like?
I think it was his delivery. Like you guys heard "Control," right? The song with Kendrick when Kendrick like went at everybody. He said something like "Fuck trying and not doing, 'cause not doing is something a nigga not doing." And that's how he says it, and it's like his delivery is like terrible.
But that's Detroit artists; they rap that way. Like,
I know some Detroit artists are fire. That one was just like, I was just a couple of times he does that a lot. Like even with the song by Wiz Khalifa, "Telephone." Have you guys heard that?
Oh, I know what you mean though.
Like that song.
It'd be like a play on words.
Yeah, I just didn't like how he does his delivery.
Do you feel like he tries to fit a lot? Sometimes I feel like he tries to fit too much into one punchline or like one bar. It's kind of like not
it goes
forced.
over your head at that point.
It's a little forced, although like the bar is hard. What he's saying is hard. It's clever. It's smart.
But
it's kind of what Eminem does.
It's like it takes you too long to even realize because we said so that
it's like something was. Maybe it wasn't even the bar. It was just how he said it. Like I said, the delivery. But then with this one, I'm like, it sounds like he's on point. Like he's polished. Like even the production value.
I would say it sounds a lot more polished than usual. That's why his voice sounded different to me. I was like, the engineering or something is different.
Yeah. I think he does his best when he's having fun with it. Mm-hmm. That's what I like. Big Sean who making songs like Ass or like, you know,
ass.
I mean, it's commercial, but I feel like he be saying the funniest shit. Just like one of my favorite verses, we were listening to it.
I forgot.
All Me or
oh yeah, I think so.
All Me with Drake, 2 Chainz. I said Big Sean had the best verse.
That's all me.
That song, really, that's all me.
I got, you know, like that. I like when he's doing that.
2 Chainz.
Big Sean.
When he's not trying to be not prolific or trying to be
over media,
right? Like now
he's trying. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why, like when he tries to be media, that's when people are like, "Oh, you're corny." Like it's cornball. Like that media shit. Like that's what made him is not being media.
Exactly.
And then when you go to media, it's like it's not what we want, man. You know,
it's not what the fans want, but it's needed for the artist.
But it's needed, so you have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
So it's like for us as fans, we're like, okay, yeah, he fell off. What has happened? And we're being critics or we're being harsh. But from the bigger picture, like I said earlier, from the money standpoint of view, he's going to do that regardless.
To be honest, being mainstream like that is appealing to the audience that mostly is white. It's like black people we already know, and then when they hear it, they're like, "We like, how do you hear Big Sean? You just not hearing." But then it's like that's how you get main.
Yeah. That's what artists tend to do, and I feel like the black audience gets mad when our artists do go mainstream. But in order to elevate, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the black community, we don't spend money. We ain't gonna be able to support these our artists, our favorite artists' lifestyles, just on our. You know how we be.
You can't buy no concert ticket.
Right. Exactly.
You buy a concert ticket. There's 20,000 people. 15,000 are white people,
and that's that's just
you got
real.
5,000 blacks.
That's just real.
And that's kind of like demographics in general. So,
it's demographics in general. I mean, you got more white people, at the end of the day. But I mean, still, you only still got 5,000. Buys out of 20,000. You trying to sell tickets. You know, you have to. That's how. Like if you stay underground. Mm-hmm. The 5,000 is not going to stretch if you're trying to make it to that next level.
Question: do we think that? I mean, I know I said I held him to a high regard, and I was kind of putting him in that conversation of top 5. Like, do you think that he will ever make it? I think that's his goal. I think that's what he wants.
What?
I think he wants to be a GOAT.
For me, I still think I would say he's still a GOAT, but I feel like
a GOAT.
The disappearance kind of took that that achievement away. I feel like I don't know. I don't know. I guess you could say because Jay-Z took breaks, but it's like.
But he earned it.
Yeah, it's
and
like
it's
you
like
got there first. I feel like he
yeah.
shouldn't have stopped. He should have got there and then.
You gotta know when you could take your foot off the
I
gas.
feel like now the tables have turned, especially when it comes to how people consume media and music and just the music industry is so overly saturated. I feel like now, so it's like, competition is a little bit.
When do you feel like you need to take a break?
Look,
when you get there,
I would say something. Okay,
when you get there,
like Kendrick
did it the right way. Like he hasn't dropped in so long. He's controlling his narrative and his career. Mm-hmm. So like the next time Kendrick dropped, the whole world's gonna be like at a standstill.
Okay, so what was wrong with like Big Sean?
Did it,
but
randomly.
Kendrick Lamar,
No,
it's not that.
What?
Kendrick Lamar left us on a solid ass project that was good.
Okay.
The last project we got from Big Sean, people were criticizing and saying he fell off, and it was like it seemed rushed, and it was like with Metro Boomin. So it's like that project should have been 10 out of 10. Big Sean, Metro, especially at the time it came out, they're both on fire.
Yeah. Right.
Now, and it was disappointing.
Now, like you feel like he doesn't like since he doesn't deserve that break, like. But why doesn't he though?
It's not even about
deserve that break. I say come back with.
He should have just.
Come back
left with a good project or got to whatever that top 5 goal is that that you're saying he's seeking. Got there and then took a break. Like because now that I feel like I just feel like he's stunted his growth by taking that break.
That's a good take on that.
That is a good take. The last project, a good take. The last project you and I we listened to that together and we both liked it. It was cool, but it's like he didn't need to drop that. He had just dropped an album before that was really good and well received. So it's like you put too much on us, then you left us on a kind of like that was okay, and now people are seeking you and they're kind of just like, what happened to Big Sean?
Right.
Whereas Kendrick Lamar, Damned was good, won a Grammy, like we know that's good. Now we're anticipating. It's like Rihanna's earned the level of respect. People are going to be anticipating her music regardless. Mm-hmm. Big Sean, you didn't leave us like that. Mm-hmm. That last project wasn't solid.
So I think y'all giving him too much credit. Y'all putting him in categories with.
You start listening to him, it sounds like if Control is the first thing, you really were kind of like.
That wasn't the first thing. But I'm just like, y'all comparing him to, you said Rihanna, you just said Kendrick, you just said like some really,
but top 5, Kendrick's in that top 5. I feel like at one point they came out at the same time. That's his peer. That's his peer.
Okay, I get you.
She's not comparing them, but
they
reached a certain height and then took that break.
I get that.
Versus he did.
I just feel like.
And Kendrick and Big Sean are peers, so they can
they're
be
peers,
compared.
so they're compared. But I'm just saying Kendrick is better than Big Sean. But I don't think like Big Sean doesn't deserve to take a break. At the end of the day, Big Sean has dropped more albums than Kendrick. So you can take a break. And I feel like the reason why his shit hasn't been as good because he didn't take his break. He's dropping Metro Boomin. Yes, exactly. He's been out. They came out at the same time.
Took the break when
they came out at the same time. Kendrick got 5-6 albums.
Yeah.
And Big Sean has 10. Or 8 to 10. So it's just like.
But it's like we were talking about earlier with Brown and Kobe. We talking about averages, and he got more albums, but how many of them are classics?
Quality over quantity.
And at this
Kendrick, bonafide classics.
And you just told me Kendrick.
Yeah. Quality over quantity.
So you need to be talking that way for Kobe then.
Okay.
Quality over
quantity.
Exactly.
She just contradicted what you said, bro.
All right, y'all disregard that. That's a
quality over quantity.
That's a separate conversation.
But to go back to the whole music thing, quality over quantity. Like Kendrick got polished album, boom, boom. He has a lot, you know what I mean? Boom. Whatever. I like the stunning growth take because maybe he could have surpassed Kendrick. Maybe Big Sean could have been something.
I think they're in different lanes though.
They are, but I feel like when you're trying to go after that GOAT title, I feel like there's a criteria for GOAT status.
Yeah.
And Big Sean, while you are different, and that's what we love about you, you still got to meet that criteria. You know, just because you got playful bars and stuff like that, I want still hard ass songs. I want hits. Yeah. I want shit that's charting. I don't want every song to have a feature with Janae. Love Janae. But it's like, it's too much surrounding that.
Big Sean top 5 right now.
No. Absolutely not.
Hell no.
Absolutely not.
I mean, like for me, I got Cole, Kendrick, Kanye, I don't want to say Drake, but you know, I'm just saying goats of all time. You know, these are goats right now, though. So you have to say Drake, and who else you got? I said Kanye.
I wanted to put Big Sean.
Drake,
I wanted it to be
Kendrick,
that.
J. Cole.
I wanted it to be that when we reflected
And
back
it's
on
Big
this
Sean.
era
It's
of
Big
hip hop,
Sean.
Big Sean was in that conversation.
It is Big Sean.
But
I mean, to me, I can't think of
he's
anyone
not.
else.
I mean, he's
He
too
should've came back
young.
as Sean.
I don't
He's
see
too
that at
young
all.
for us to be having this
the big
conversation.
L, like Bow Wow
I feel
did.
like
What do you mean,
Yeah.
Kendrick and J. Cole? They're all the same
they're
age.
peers, right? And so we shouldn't be talking about Big Sean's fall off.
Exactly. There's
He
no,
should
it's
still
no
be
fall
hot.
off. It's no fall
Like
off. He
Kendrick,
just dropped
like
an album.
Kendrick.
It's no fall off.
Dog.
I'm talking about top 5 right now. Then let me hear what you got.
I don't have I can't even do it. That's what's crazy. I was just about to say, I can't even do a top 5 because it's not even like there's a lot of stars right now.
So that's what I'm
If that
saying.
makes sense.
Then it should be easy.
I would put
I
Travis
got-
Scott over Big Sean right now, and only
Okay,
because
I
of his.
respect
Okay,
that.
okay, I'm
That's a
glad.
good take.
That's a good take.
Oh, wow, I
Respect.
thought I was gonna get attacked for that.
No, good
That's
respect.
right.
Scott
But
over, but what?
But
Over
he
Because
Big Sean.
Travis
makes
Scott to
hits.
me cannot rap. He
Oh.
can make a hit, but he can't.
Yeah.
in my opinion,
I
he
agree
can't
with. I'm
rap.
not gonna put him over mine,
Okay,
but I
I
see.
see.
where
Okay,
you're coming from.
okay. You
He
see
can
where
make
I'm
a
coming
hit.
from.
I
And
see.
that's what I'm saying. That's
But I
what
won't
Big
put him-
Sean's lacking
so-
right now. While he's better lyrically than Travis Scott, I won't deny that. But
Statistically, he's
statistically, Travis Scott's putting in the work, and like, you know what I mean. When we're thinking about this era of hip hop, like I
Not,
was
he
just
could take a
saying,
break. He's put out some pretty.
right now we're
Kanye West found
anticipating
him
Travis
too.
Scott. Like you
Yeah.
know,
By the way, Kanye found him too. So Kanye found Travis Scott and Big Sean. By the way.
T.I. discovered Travis Scott too, or he
Oh,
was.
did he?
Yeah.
Well, I know
Why does this
Kanye
guy-
took him under the wing.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
He probably got more.
Hey, and a lot of people don't know Travis
So
Scott
Big Sean
did
did.
produce Magna Carta.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
For right now.
before he even came out and was
Mm,
known
that's
as Travis Scott, he was producing for the Top Dog. So he's been in the game for a minute.
Contemplate.
What y'all talking about?
Kanye's always who's in my top 5.
I'm gonna say
Kanye's definitely always in my top 5. I
Kanye's
just
in my
love
top 5
Kanye.
too.
But he doesn't write. I mean, and we can have that conversation because Travis Scott supposedly doesn't either. He doesn't write all of his music.
I thought he wrote some. I was like,
I mean,
I know
some,
artists
but-
don't write all their music, but damn.
But
I don't
like, I
think-
feel like he's very open about. It seems like
It's
Look,
a lot.
As somebody,
Yeah.
as a writer, how do you give somebody the credibility if they didn't do that?
Because I feel like there's a difference between a suggestion or like maybe a few bars and then somebody writing a rap and handing it to you and telling
So
you
if
to
somebody-
say it this way.
Like,
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the difference.
Because somebody can write a whole song and have all these lyrics and give it to somebody like Drake because it sounds better because they can't deliver like that. Drake gets all the praise and people gonna call him, oh, he's top 5. How? How is he top 5?
So a ghostwriter. You're saying like they're the actual writer? Well, I mean,
If
yeah,
majority of his
course.
songs are like that, how could you put him up there?
I mean,
How could he go against?
I don't
How
care.
could he? But how
I
could he
don't
go
care
against
for-
somebody
I'm
like
just
Kendrick?
saying what the public is wanting.
Yeah,
Right.
but we're
Public.
speaking.
That's nice. That's so cool.
I agree.
Like the public, the audience is gonna get what they want. I think Drake has a lot of traction and everything going on.
Exactly.
But
His marketing is genius.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But if you're gonna say Kendrick and then you bring up Drake and it's
No,
like,
to me, it's not.
Yeah, it can't correlate.
He's cupcake to me. Drake is cupcake to me.
Cupcake is a good artist if anyone knows who.
Shout out Cupcake.
Shout out.
I'm just saying. You're making a valid point.
That's valid.
But I feel like for us real hip hop heads, that's the conversation we'll have. But if we're talking about just the
media,
general public,
they love Drake.
if
Yeah.
we're talking about it from that standpoint, Drake will be considered a legend. He is a legend.
Yeah, he
and,
is a
and
legend,
regardless
yeah.
of if he
But that
writes
does
all this
suck.
shit or not. It
That
does
does
suck.
Right. It sucks.
But Drake has he
So
made
at
that
point, I
legend.
feel like he's more of an artist than a rapper.
yes, that's
But
a
he
great
would
Or
say
an
that.
entertainer.
An
He would say
entertainer.
that.
An entertainer.
He would
That's
say
better.
that.
And he has
Because
more
Kendrick-
Grammys than the fucking.
But
Beatles.
that's what's
He's a great
wrong
entertainer.
with. He's a great entertainer, but that's
And
also
that's why
what's
I
wrong
compare him
with
to
the system.
LeBron. Because LeBron is a great all-over player. Like you
No,
guys
he's a
said.
great entertainer.
Yeah.
Do you hear-
LeBron's an entertainer. Not
This is crazy.
Kobe's
Not a
Lil
basketball
Wayne,
player.
Kobe's Lil Wayne, and Michael
This-
Jordan is Jay-Z.
No,
and
look,
that's my take on
This
it.
ain't.
And
we
Lil
ain't
Wayne
get-
and Jay-Z are better than Drake, by the way. So,
So
you just keep contradicting
if-
yourself.
No, I mean, no, I'm not.
Look, listen,
no, I'm not.
if people are saying Jordan
not.
is the best, and I feel like, hold on, we're off topic. We off topic.
Rap, we could talk about that all day. I feel like GOATs for everybody. Everyone has their own personal criteria for who they consider to be the GOAT. For me personally, you know, I just feel like lyricism and hit making ability are very important, and they're two different things. And while you can be a master of one, if you're not a master of both, you can't be a GOAT. And Big Sean, I really feel like you have the potential, and that's what we've all been holding on to, knowing the fact that you have the potential. But we got to see it. And that's just where I'm coming from. That's my take on it. I do like and enjoy this album. I want to give it more of a listen.
Facts.
Too. Because I feel like we did just kind of listen to it over the weekend, and it hasn't been able to really sit with me.
Right.
But, yeah. A good job. It was a cohesive project. It was talking about something that had substance. I appreciate that.
True.
Because a lot of this new music is lacking that. But, yeah. On to something a little more, not even a little more, a lot more important. And we're still talking about the Black Lives Matter movement and just more cases and more names coming out. And unfortunately, the most recent case that's been brought to the forefront is Jacob Blake, who, if you don't know, and you should know, but if you don't, he's a 29-year-old man who was shot, I believe it was seven times in the back.
Right.
In Kenosha, Wisconsin. And yeah, he was shot while trying to run away. So from behind, he has 6 children. He didn't do anything in that case to warrant that type of response from the police. There's no reason, at least from what I know about the case, that should have happened. In fact, it's not even what I know about the case. That should not have happened.
It shouldn't have happened.
Period. Period. And of course that's evident to all of us, but apparently what happened was there was a dispute between 2 women, and he was trying to break it up, and the police got involved, and somehow he became a victim of police brutality. And it's something we've been seeing. We've been talking about it. And I just don't know. It seems like I want to feel like we're moving in the right direction with everything that's going on with George Floyd and his case, and then the slow progress of Breonna Taylor's case, but I still feel like, we're still on that. We're still fighting for that. And I still believe there's a chance those cops will get arrested, but it's unfortunate that with all of that, new cases are still coming out. And this still happened. In the wake of all of this happened.
And that shit was mad ignorant. Like, it was like, usually I'm like, okay, what happened? But that, I was just like, man, what the fuck? Because he grabbed his shirt and everything. I'm like, what the hell? Like, your intent was to kill this man.
Yeah.
For nothing. For absolutely nothing.
You don't need to shoot someone 7 times to detain them or
to do anything.
To do anything.
To do anything.
Not even once. It seems like if it's always a person of black, whatever, the aggression is to an all-time high. And if it's somebody else, it's always just like ease on into it. Wait,
they can have them. They can be a threat.
They actually do the protocol of what police are supposed to do when it's someone else.
Because the assumption is that they know their rights.
Yeah.
They know their rights, and they probably have this weapon legally. Whereas with black people, he didn't have a weapon. The assumption is just that he's dangerous. He's a threat. And that's where I don't want to say white people, but non-white people understand when they come to me or when we're having these conversations and they say things like, but, yeah, he shouldn't have got shot or killed, but, and then they rebuttal or like, well, he didn't do this, that, and the third. It's just like, there are too many cases.
No, and if you walk away from the police and you get shot, is that what you think? But
there is no rebuttal.
No,
yeah.
There's no rebuttal.
You're not going to
shot
say
in
that.
the butt.
But for real,
there's no
like,
justification.
you're not going to say that.
But they try to, and it really hurts me because they don't see it. I think that's what it's like. They don't see their own hypocrisy. They don't see that, like.
I think it's also. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think it's also. I think it's framing as well, like, because even when it comes to Instagram, I feel like we see a lot of the shit that they don't, because we are what we attract, and especially now with 2020 and everything being so. You see an advertisement you was just thinking about, type shit.
Yeah.
So we see, that's all we see basically. And they're on there and they're just like, what are you guys talking about? More or less. That's how I be feeling like. So I feel like their frame of reference, I guess, is kind of just jaded, low key.
Yeah. That's
to the point where they really don't understand.
That's a good point. You're absolutely right in that. And I guess on both ends, do we need to do more research? Because when I do pick up on that, when I'm like, okay, clearly you're seeing things from a different perspective. Like, I'm just seeing it as a human got shot and killed for no reason, but you're seeing it as like, but the law and like protocol and this, that, and the third. The information that you're being fed is so much different. You're not seeing the graphics maybe. Or
probably not.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10. And
even just the difference between our timelines, our Instagram timelines, is based on what you like.
Or just male versus female timelines too.
Yeah.
Like even to go deeper. So just to think black versus white, they probably getting fed a whole nother narrative.
Yeah.
That's really
they getting all their white friends who's saying the complete opposite that we're saying.
And that's a good take, because we don't, if I'm being honest, I don't get that white perspective, because the white people or non-black people that I tend to associate with view things from my perspective, at least what they present to me.
Right.
Like, you know, they see it, at least they see it as unjust and not right. They're not trying to defend it or like justify or see it from the police officer's standpoint. They're like Black Lives Matter, I guess. So you're right. That's a good point. I guess to me, it's just like, if we were to reverse the roles, when a person who is not black dies by the hand of a cop, I don't view it any differently. I still view it the same, and still, you took a person's life and that's wrong. I look at it, and if I can take color out of it, because I do, I don't care what color you are. I don't care about any of that. If I see a person who was killed unjustly,
I think. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Okay. I agree. I see it as a human, but I think kind of how I mentioned their frame of reference. My frame of reference at this point, like, my sympathy is very low, I'll say. When it's like, just to be honest, if a white person were to get shot by the hands of a cop, my sympathy would be low because it happens to us all the time.
I see what
you know what I'm
saying.
saying? Like, so my frame of reference for it is like, kind of like what we were just talking about. That malicious happiness. It's like, I don't want to feel that way.
Right.
Exactly.
However, this happens to my community all the time.
Malicious happiness. Wow.
And can they literally be angry at us for feeling that type of way? How could you be mad if you?
But can they be angry? But can we be angry at them?
And see, that's why I feel like we all need to get on a
be.
moral. Like, we all need to be on the same moral. If we want to truly be equal, if white people, the people who are our allies, if the majority of the world claims not to be racist, and we all want equality, then we should be able to see things from a human standpoint and not look for justifications. Point blank, period. A person's dead. Breonna Taylor, if we're talking about her.
Absolutely.
She's dead. At the hands of a cop who, like, that's not who they were looking to arrest. That's not who they were looking to, that was the wrong person. But now they're looking into certain details saying, well, she associated with drug dealers or drug traffickers. It's like they're trying to reach and paint this narrative. When the fact of the matter is, the day that woman was killed, there were no drugs in her house. That was not the person or the suspect that you guys were looking to arrest, detain, kill, whatever the case was. It was the wrong person.
Exactly. And that's what matters.
And if it was, and I just feel like if it was a white person, that wouldn't be happening.
Or there's a reason for that.
It would be the like, sympathy.
No, they didn't have anything when you went in there. This is wrong.
Right.
And that's where it's just like, if we truly want equality, we gotta take color out of it on both ends.
Right.
Black and white, and we got to look at things from a moral standpoint, which is a human should not die by the hands of another human without just cause.
I think they don't want to give us that equality because they're afraid that we'll be just like them when we're not. We're not savage people. They, for some reason, over the years, they must have been thought white people or black people, we're gonna go riot crazily and start killing just like how they do us and do wild like stuff like that, but we don't. We're not really savages like how they are in that form. So,
or how they try to paint us.
Exactly. We're not like that.
We have way more compassion, I feel like, for humans than other people.
Average.
Exactly.
I feel like they're at least from what it seems from the media, white people tend to value animals more than human lives.
Very true. My mom says she hates pets because of that.
And
people treat their pets better than they treat
humans.
Yeah.
And that to me is crazy. I feel like black people, we tend not to look at it. I know you can look at it like, oh, we don't look at pets as like equals or like as a living creature, but at the same token, like, a person is a person, an animal is an animal.
Mm-hmm.
This human's life, white, black, Hispanic, whatever the case, to me comes before that of like a
Anala.
Call me out on my hypocrisy. I love my dog, I do. But at the end of the day, if I got into some type of accident,
person or Nala, what would you do?
It wouldn't even be. Now I'm sorry, like, this is a human life, and that's no matter what the race is, and I can separate, and that's why I'm just like, I don't feel sympathy.
That would be hard. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not even thinking about Nala like shit. Which one would I do?
We love you, Nala.
Fuck.
I do love Nala. I love her with all my heart. She's, you know, until I got Nala, I can honestly say I didn't have that sympathy for animals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't understand why people were tripping on Mike Vick. But, you know, now I have a dog that I love, and it's like, if somebody, oh my God, like, the thought of anything happening to her hurts me. But when it comes down to it, I value a human's life so much more than I do.
Get what you mean.
Yeah. And that's just when I mean, like, the fact that that's even a debate where it's like, we've seen people treat animals better than humans.
They'll let the animal in the store before some homeless.
Or they will literally, they will literally
especially
pick up the animal and leave a homeless person there to die.
Yeah.
And we'll call PETA on this animal because they're like, oh, but it doesn't have a home to live in. What
But
about?
I was saying to Kris, do you think our compassion comes from how we've been treated over the years? You know, like, since, for lack of a better term, we're like the underdogs, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like when things happen, or I don't know how to say it per se, but it's like, since I feel like a homeless person will be even more compassionate than us because they have less, if that makes sense.
And they've been there.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
So like a homeless person, if they seeing something unjust happening, they probably are more apt to do something because they've been in that situation. They have, you know, I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
No, I mean, and I feel like even for, that I think that's a valid point. As black people, I was going to say that very thing. Like, yeah, even as a black person, I feel like, because, I mean, yeah, I get it. I understand. I would also say, in defense of people who kind of value lives of animals more than humans, people would argue that, like, well, the animal didn't have a choice. It's kind of helpless. At least for dogs.
You bought that.
Okay, this is what the person said. I'm just trying to share different perspectives. I don't want to, you know, that they said, they were just like, you know, I get that, but, and this was a white person. I was talking to. They said, I get that, but like that dog didn't have the.
A justification I could think of for an animal is the connection.
Okay.
That, to me, I don't know who said that, but it's a little bizarre. Like, I mean, I guess it doesn't have a choice, but you chose to buy that dog. Like, you made that.
Well, this is if we're going even further, this person wasn't referring to their own pet.
Oh,
they were
like
referring
an animal
to, like,
in general.
Well, I was telling them about the situation with the homeless man that I had saw, and literally the cops like taking the dog. Taking this homeless person's dog, saying
he didn't have a choice with the homeless man. I see.
Yeah,
okay,
like,
got it.
He didn't choose this.
This dog is in a fucked up situation, so we need to.
Say the dog, and this is
not the homeless man.
Right, but because I'm black, and my mind just goes to like, well, damn, you know. That compassionate place where I'm not judging someone by class. I'm not judging this man. I'm looking at this relationship between this man and his dog, and this might
That's
be
the only thing he got.
Right, you know, but your values lie differently when you come from a different background. So I agree with you.
So in that instance, is it the people or is it the system?
A mix of the two. The system controls some of the people.
Yeah.
But back to
a lot of people don't think for themselves. So.
Back to Jacob Blake, just because.
Oh, true.
I mean, I just couldn't believe that happened, but he is alive. He's still alive.
Thank God. I was happy. Yeah.
And it's crazy because the way he's being treated, even while he's fucking paralyzed. So this has changed this man's life.
Yeah.
He will never live the same life. He has 6 kids.
6 kids, yeah.
And that's my thing.
He was active with them.
And active, a good parent. And people, that's the first criticism of black men is like, you don't raise your children, or you breed and leave, and things like that. This is a man who took care of his kids, and you guys shot him. He's paralyzed now. The way he interacts with his kids will forever be different. It'll be forever different. Forever change. And this man...
Yeah,
I heard was handcuffed to his bed, his
hospital bed.
Yeah,
he was. Yeah, I saw that.
Treating humans
as if he is.
I seen a comment that somebody said, that's protocol for a criminal or a fugitive or whatever, but this man's not no criminal.
He's the victim.
He's the victim, and it's like back to the narrative. They always try to justify it in some technical way. The whole human logic just goes out the window.
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell you I think they did it like, we're gonna handcuff him to the bed. It's just like a just in case factor, because now we have like since we shot him now, and if we don't have him handcuffed to the bed, then it could look. If we haven't handcuffed to the bed, we could say we at least thought he was like
he's a criminal.
Like he was a criminal, or he like was a suspect.
And
of some
again,
sort.
what do they do?
So at least let's handcuff him to the bed, so like if anyone else sees it,
So we look like the good guys.
We look like the good guys, you know.
They cover
shot a
themselves.
criminal.
They cover themselves.
They cover themselves. They cover it up like that. You
And
know?
what did they do? They dig up his history or like try
and then they start digging up like, oh, this guy did that. Oh,
like, what does that have to do with what happened today? Y'all do none of this information, and they'll try to say, well, you know, I mean, he did this back in the day.
It's crazy. They'll go all the way to the past. He got an F in sophomore year. Like, what?
Sorry, what were you saying, Jordie?
I was gonna say, like, speaking of, which I was just saying, a lot of times too with like the good cops, people end up, or like I seen a couple things online where it was like, okay, good cop here, they were suspended for reporting one of their fellow officers for rape. Good cop here, stop police brutality, fired. Good cop here did this, fired. Like every time something happens with a good cop or a good cop does the right thing, it's always their job is jeopardized. So it makes it hard, I feel like, for cops to even
do the right thing.
Try to stand
they
up.
don't want you to.
And it's funny that they can arrest a cop, or not arrest, but fire a cop then, but it's so hard for them to fire them when they actually
That's
kill.
a damn shame. Look, not arrest. Look, why not arrest?
That goes back to the system then, because
they it's like, I understand all cops aren't bad cops, but then when you guys jump to the defense of a bad cop or you guys are protecting them, that's the message you're conveying or sending out to people, that you'd rather defend the bad cops than, you know, like reward or, you know, show the cops that are actually caring and start trying to stop police brutality, which would work in your favor, honestly, so that we can see the other side, you know, because I understand all cops aren't bad people,
Right.
but as a system, as a whole, that's what you guys are putting out there when you're supporting and backing up these cops who kill people, abuse their power, beat on black people, beat on anybody who's not resisting arrest. And that's what it comes down to, because like you mentioned,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
you would mention like there are a whole bunch of instances of cops who do that. There are a whole bunch of instances of you know, white people doing the same things as black people, resisting arrest or being worse, and they aren't killed.
Literally beating a whole cop's ass and you're still not shot. Like, you know, yeah.
it goes down to what the originality of what the cop or even the sheriff thing was for. It was basically slave rounduppers, basically, and they kept that system. That's why I'm for abolishing the whole police system. Not as a they think defunding. They think we're trying to just get rid of it and have no law or something. It's a new era. It's time for a new system for that, because it was based off of ignorance and corruption. Exactly. So how could you keep that going? I mean, it's not for us because it wasn't built for us. So now it's like we need something that's for all, and now it's like more humanly, because this is crazy.
That makes sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's
to reconstruct, you know.
just like
Exactly.
America was built on the backs of slaves. It's just like the police, the sheriff system, the judicial system was built on, you know, not keeping us down or like keeping us separate.
We were talking about the judicial system. Like, how could they know our rights if they've never been in our shoes? When there's certain people in certain situations, how could the people in offices vote or find a direction if they've never been poor, or if they're coming from a rich standpoint or something like that? If you've never been in the shoes of a minority, you can't determine our rights, if that makes sense. It's
Or our needs, or
You can't determine, but you don't know them.
You would, exactly.
You don't
you won't
never
be able
been there.
to.
You can't relate.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like there just
Therefore,
has
how
to be
can
a
you
system.
provide a solution that would actually work?
There has to be
Especially
a system for
when you
all.
add to that you're not trying to or you don't care to.
That shit all crazy. I think the craziest part, at least, about the Breonna Taylor thing is how they're trying to make the boyfriend either take 1 year probation or 10 years in jail if he basically lies and says that she has something to do with drugs.
Yeah.
I think that's to me is the most fucked up part about it, because it's like,
and they're doing that in the community too. They're trying to like award people who will come forward and
yes, bro, they're doing that. Like but it's like y'all would rather go to these extreme lengths rather than
their guys,
rather than just like literally just firing these niggas or just
or
they
have to
arresting
go
them.
to jail. If us two went in a white somebody's house right now, white or black, and just shot them, we're going to jail. Doesn't matter, bro.
Even
you
if black
kill
cops,
somebody wrong or right,
you guys
bro, you have to go to jail.
Yeah,
bro, you have to go to jail if you kill. Like even if
they should definitely be in jail.
Kill for wrong, like it's the wrong person. You just killed an innocent bystander. That's prison time.
And I think
I
seen a post that said that one of the officers had something similar happen before, where they.
Why aren't you guys reporting on the history of the officer? If he's had a history of abusing his authority and his power,
I think that might be the Jacob Blake situation, but yeah.
But still, in that instance, why don't you guys report that? You never hear about that. You always hear about, you see a middle finger or a picture of Trayvon sticking up his middle finger or something like that, and them trying to paint the victims. These are the victims. Guys. These are the people who are dead.
Listen, why it's simple. It's called involuntary manslaughter, and you have to charge them with that. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And was it really? Well, we won't get into that. If they'll charge them with that.
Yeah. Well, you gotta charge them. If you call it that, but you have to charge them.
Yeah. A person.
I mean, really, it was manslaughter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
But. Yeah.
I mean,
involuntary is when you do it on accident.
On accident, yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, you know that's what they want to call it. That's what they want to call it.
Well, go ahead, call it that. Give them something. I mean, that's like the least amount of time they get, but you have to give them something.
Like that. I guess that's what it's about, like propaganda and what you guys are putting out to the media and to the masses. And the message right now is that you guys are backing up the police. Like it's okay to kill black people, and that's why we scream Black Lives Matter. It's not because we want to say, oh, our Black Lives Matter more than all or everyone else's life, but y'all know that. Y'all know that.
You guys know.
But you guys, you try to distract and take attention away from the real cause. But at the end of the day, that is why we do that, because the message that you guys continuously put out there is that we don't. And that it's okay to kill us, and that we don't have the same rights as other Americans. Because if we talk about Kyle Rittenhouse,
oh my gosh,
who was also 17, same age as Trayvon Martin when he was killed.
With a fully loaded rifle.
With an AR.
With a fully loaded rifle.
How
is it that this man, Zimmerman, was acquitted on the basis of the stand your ground law? And this is a 17-year-old boy who had no gun, no weapon at all. It was killed.
Candy bar or something.
Because he threw a fair one with him. And he.
Not a fair one.
I mean,
he resorted to fisticuffs.
But at the end, he was in his right. This man is pursuing him.
Right,
he has the right to defend himself. Just like Zimmerman had the right to stand his ground, so did Trayvon Martin. If someone is pursuing me actively and I've done nothing wrong, I'm on the phone with my candy and whatever the case, I've done nothing wrong. I ain't committed no crime. I have the right to defend myself.
Right.
And they use that against him because he did. I know. And it's so sad how they'll twist the narrative. But with Kyle Rittenhouse, who shot 2 protesters,
he's cleaning up graffiti.
Yeah, they're showing pictures of him cleaning up graffiti. It's just like, did you also pull up the pictures of him as a child with guns?
That's the narrative.
I've seen a video of him hitting some lady.
And then they'll call him a kid. Thug. Yeah. He's a thug. Just like y'all called Trayvon Martin and said that Zimmerman was within his right to protect himself and his community from a thug. This man killed 2 protesters. It is our right to protest. It is in the Constitution.
Not 2 rioters, 2 protesters.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. 2 protesters.
Not 2 looters.
Yeah.
Because we know.
You know they like to say these words.
You looting, shooting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you have to be real careful with word choice. And they choose to be when it comes to white children. And he's not a child. He's 17 years old.
Yeah.
He's 17 years old.
He knew what he was doing.
He was well with.
His parents raised him.
Yeah, and that's another thing. What about the parents?
True, because I mean,
hold them accountable.
He's 17, so it's actually them that should be getting credit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about them at all? I haven't heard nothing about them.
Bring them parents.
How is it that Kyle? Yeah. No, but they won't put put them in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
we don't know what they look like.
You would know the family, the brother, the sister if he's black. Like, oh my God.
They interview
the
him.
cousin.
Oh yeah.
They interviewing them.
They
on
Showtime.
Showtime.
They hoping for a battle.
Oh my God.
Bad when they're trying to make you look.
They gonna give him a movie.
You know, they
They
can't
gonna do
interview.
so much.
Let's get them in here and say what they say, make
They're
it look
gonna
worse.
sound ignorant.
They're gonna sound ignorant, make it sound a little. Hey, get them in.
Because that, oh my goodness, it takes me, even just hearing that sound ignorant, it takes me back to the Trayvon case when the girl that he was on the phone with, it was like they were just trying to use that, like, oh, she might be, you know, like mentally ill or not stable. Like they were trying to discredit this girl, the girl that was on the phone with him when everything went down, trying to question her intelligence level, all of that. That's what they'll do. That's how far they'll go to discredit somebody. This man, he's dead.
He's 17.
He's 17, but he doesn't get the same sympathy. He doesn't even get the benefit of the doubt, like a Kyle Rittenhouse, who they're gonna look into his background, make sure he doesn't have any mental, you know, illnesses.
Right. Or they will make it mental illness.
That's the next thing.
Or they'll make it.
That's the next thing.
He's sick. He's not
He's
head
sick.
straight. He's sick.
Yeah.
He's not head straight.
Exactly.
Like, man,
Send him
come
to the
on.
psych ward for 6 months
Yeah.
and then they let him go.
Yeah.
Go home.
So when he turned 18, they let him go.
I just don't understand how this man is still alive when you got Jacob Blake, who did nothing but try to break up a fight and ended up with 7 shots in the back.
And that's a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
A good Samaritan.
It just doesn't make sense.
It just shows the level of
It's like,
hypocrisy.
it don't make sense.
It literally doesn't make
This
sense.
cannot make sense to y'all. Like, this cannot.
And that's where
Makes
I
sense.
get that, like, we're being exposed to two different things. We come from 2 different worlds. So, like, what you're seeing on social media is different from what I'm seeing when it comes to maybe white people or non-black people. I get that. But at the same time, that's where it just goes back to, like, this is so clear.
But it'd be so bad when, like you said, like your coworkers, not coworkers, but your whoever that you speak to, that says this, that, or the third about justifying it. Because it's like, how
It's their
can
natural.
you make this? How is this just in any way,
I
shape,
think
or
because
form?
they're
Like,
getting
I don't get it.
defensive instead of.
Absolutely.
It's because
Exactly.
they're getting defensive
Their ego is
instead of
challenged.
looking.
'Cause
And
they
that's
know
what
who
it
did
is.
it. It wasn't.
And they know why, and I get it, because I can sometimes be that way too. The minute, you know, they try to justify it, I don't care what they did. It's kind of like even with OJ.
Right.
If we want to be honest, we on TaeTalk, so we're gonna be real.
Right.
We know OJ did it.
Right.
We know he did it, but at the same time, as black people, because we're black, we're naturally jumping in his defense.
Right. Not even his defense. Like at the end of the day, like people weren't even jumping to his defense. Like black people were thoroughly excited when he was relieved. Like literally, like the courtroom went nuts. Like when OJ was acquitted, they were like black people already knew that he did it or could have done it or was somewhere around the scene.
Yeah.
They knew, black people knew.
And that's
it was a victory.
Our
It was like,
it was a
at least
victory.
we
It was
do-
like
if we
this
get
is the first
something.
time the black man has had a break.
Yeah. And that's
and
what
this
it was.
nigga did something.
And he did.
And that's the point we reach when that becomes the thing. It's like we've seen so many black people actually suffer and not get their justice.
For
That
nothing.
even when we have a black person who we know may be guilty allegedly,
Right.
we still are rooting for them because
come on,
now
look
it's
at
becoming a race thing instead of a moral thing, and that's what we need to get back to.
system.
Morals.
Chanté, the system. We're gonna listen. They applaud OJ and they shot Jacob. One's a good Samaritan, one's guilty.
That's our justice system, continuously doing it wrong.
You tell me.
But then they use that same case as a crutch to be
Yeah.
like, well, we gave y'all OJ.
Right.
But it's like that's all y'all gave us. Damn, so like all that nigga did it.
That was back in the
All
80s.
these black lives
It's 2020.
for OJ.
Right.
He didn't even want to be black. I traded his ass in for a second to get all the black people who got
100.
shot.
He wanted to be a Kardashian.
Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's like, you're right. They do that. They use that as a crutch. They use those instances, and that's why I don't appreciate that shit when they throw a token black person in just to like, oh, we did this for you guys. We did this. When all we want is equality. That's all we're asking for is for those assumptions not to be made when it comes to a cop pulling out a gun and now like it's between life or death because you're making an assumption about me based on color and the statistics, the stats, or what's the likelihood of you trying to hurt me or threaten me, and now I'm gonna unleash on
I
you.
even feel like that is low. Like if there are some white folk out here watching, think to yourself, how many times have you been robbed by a black person? How many times have you been shot or seen a
I just think it's insane how he's being treated as someone who's the victim. And it goes back to our last episode of Take Talk when we were talking about how Megan Thee Stallion, although she was the victim in that instance, she felt like, I'm afraid to even get the cops involved because this might turn out bad for me. As the victim. For everyone. Yeah. As everyone, because we're black. And that's literally it. Like, because we're black, this may turn out bad. And she said they were even talking to her.
Because they don't know who Megan Thee Stallion is.
They don't, but also, like, she is bleeding. So it shouldn't matter who she is. She's the victim. But she said she was still being treated bad. But, yeah, I mean, we're still working on that. We just gotta hold it down on our end. We have to keep being vocal about this stuff, calling out the hypocrisy, but also like providing a solution, because it's not enough to call it out, because at the end of the day, like Jordie mentioned, they see it one way, we see it another, and that's because what we're being exposed to, how we were raised. It's a lot of different factors that go into why people believe what they believe. But at the end of the day, I feel like if we bring it back to that moral standpoint where it's like we're looking at it as humans and not about race and
or law,
yeah. Or patterns or statistics or how things, you know, like any of that. We just look at it like this is a human's life. Breonna Taylor didn't deserve to die. Jacob Blake didn't deserve to get shot 7 times. He didn't do anything to get that type of response from the police. George Floyd. They said they didn't even confirm whether or not the $20 bill was a Confederate. It was actually fake. They didn't even, or counterfeit. They didn't even make sure it was a counterfeit bill before the police had this man on the ground.
It's real mind that though. I get you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, moving on. I do want to talk about Black excellence. And with that I want to honor the life of who I feel like was a legend, not even in the making, because he was very much legendary, but maybe he didn't receive the flowers that he deserved, and that is Chadwick Boseman, who definitely did his thing while he was here. He passed on August 20th of this year, and it was very unexpected. A lot of people, like, no one saw it coming. No one saw it coming. I didn't see it coming.
We just saw him getting skinnier.
I didn't even see that, to be honest.
I didn't see that. I thought he gained weight for Black Panther.
So you just thought he was going back to regular?
Exactly.
Right. I thought he was actually preparing for a new role.
And a lot of people thought that too. I didn't know that I didn't see that in my timeline anywhere about him getting skinnier. I didn't see any headlines or any jokes.
Do you watch? Did you watch?
They call him Crack Panther, which is very ignorant.
Stop,
it's ignorant. They did. People were like dead ass roasting.
But no, that's
ignorant shit.
That's
I think it's funny, but I can't even laugh because that shit is that ignorant.
You gotta stop.
You can't say that.
That's not
you can't say
no,
that,
but
bro.
being real, we gotta talk about
people
how
say shit like that.
The internet literally takes things that are serious and
just jokes with them. Have you seen the HBO show was it Disinterrupted, the LeBron show?
The barbershop.
You know I know that.
The barbershop show.
Yeah.
Well, he was on there, Chadwick. And that's when he started actually looking like really like noticeable skinny.
Okay.
And
I didn't see that
on that last episode. So I know that I think we watched it a couple episodes before together, maybe in the past, but
definitely watched the show. I didn't see that.
Yeah, the one that Chadwick on, he's actually wearing a sweater, which is just doesn't fit his neck piece at all. It's just like way out here, and that's when everyone started commenting like, I wonder if he's preparing for a new movie or what is he doing? So.
The fact that he did that all in silence.
That's what I was about to say. I respect him so much for not victimizing himself.
Right.
Or wanting people to feel sorry for him and just living his life and leaving a legacy. Because, I mean, I feel like it was worth it. You, the Black Panther, you are what a generation of Black children are going to grow up idolizing. And I feel like that is a great legacy to leave.
Right.
Just aside, because I know Black Panther is what a lot of people will remember him for, but it's crazy. He had a great movie career before that. A great movie career before that. I personally saw him for the first time in 42, which was the movie where he portrayed Jackie Robinson.
Right, yeah.
And it was an amazing performance. And I know Kris, just a few days before he passed away, Kris was talking about how talented he was and how he was one of his favorite actors. Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys want to just share, like, some of your favorite movie experiences, I guess. Or
him portraying James Brown and Get On Up was phenomenal. That was really good.
For me, I would say it's more of like a humanitarian thing. I respect him as a person. more so than just like an actor.
Right. I mean, I have to say with Jordie, I didn't watch a lot. Like I only watched like the main ones. You know, I've seen, of course, the Black Panther, Jackie Robinson, the James Brown. Like I've seen I think I've seen the Five Bloods. Maybe I think that's one.
Yeah, he was on it.
I think so. Yeah,
he does biopics a lot, and he portrays black people from the past. And the thing about him is how he sets the bars, how he does it. It's like they said on the set of James on Get On Up, he didn't break character the whole time. Like not once.
Like
once it started from finish, he was James Brown with the voice and how he was acting. And you know, even with the Black Panther, the Wakanda accent was made up. He made that up on the spot. So it's like he probably just mixed it with different African dialects or this and that. And he had another movie called Message from the King, and that's it's another African dialect movie. It's where he's portraying himself in the most blackest form he can. Everything he's doing, and I think that's phenomenal.
That's good.
He's definitely a positive role model for the black community, 100%. and I feel like he wasn't one to be in the spotlight when it came to anything outside of acting,
like the fame
or what he wanted people to see. It wasn't about glamorizing his personal life or any of that.
I listened to a big boy radio station back in LA, and he actually has said that he was pretty good friends with Chadwick, and Chadwick has sent him and a whole bunch of his close friends and family a nutrition list to follow. And it was just, hey, you should eat like this, take care of your life, your body like this. And he never told him like he got that plan from the doctors for him or nothing like that. This is a big boy was saying on the radio. He said this, you know, didn't explain any of this. You know, he just got a plan. If you guys want to follow it, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. But it was just something for longevity, he was saying, and a cleaner life. Yeah. But big boy was just so like, shocked and thrilled that he was actually shared it with him. And he actually, now that we found out that he passed from cancer, like he never once had brought up cancer. Like, hey, I'm eating like this because I have cancer, or he never brought that into play. He just lived like this.
That's truly, like, besides the acting, that's honestly what I respect the most. Because a lot of celebrities or just people in general love to victimize themselves, love to want people to feel sorry for them. And I just feel like to deal with something like that on your own is heavy as hell. As well, though, I do think I would love to see like a Chadwick Boseman movie, because in and of itself, that is a very good movie. A famous actor who has pretty much everything and more, but you're battling cancer for your life at the height of your career. Like that's pretty goddamn deep. Like that's some shit. Yeah. Cause it's like, are you happy? Are you sad? Are you somewhere in the middle? Movies, like, how do you feel?
In the movies, he's showing himself. He seems so happy and so vulnerable, and it's like, damn.
Well, I think he's so happy because he actually finally got that break he was looking for. Like when it came to these last 5 years of shooting, like the movies he was working with, you know, he's actually got to do the movies he wants to do.
He made his mark.
So
he definitely made his mark.
You should change your Instagram name to that. Made my mark.
I was actually thinking about changing my Instagram name sooner than my PlayStation Network gamer tag, because Mark Mo's gonna blow up and everybody can't know that they're playing with Mark Mo.
That was crazy.
Shout out to Chadwick though.
Shout out to Chadwick, man.
Great
Chadwick.
Great overall guy. And when it's crazy when I say great guy when I'm talking about him, I don't even mean just great black guy, because I know sometimes great human being in general. And I don't know, like I said, he didn't present too much of his personal life to us. I just feel like you said, because he wasn't victimizing himself or like being a media whore. He played Black Panther. He could have really ran with that. So many people would have let that get to their heads. Like he could have been scandal, like all types of things.
When you battling something like that,
there's a
that's what I'm saying. That would be a great great movie.
Yeah.
I'm interested, to be honest.
You said you seen the Five Bloods, right?
That's crazy.
The actor, one of the old brothers, I forgot his name, in that movie that plays the older cats. He was talking about on set of when he first met Chadwick, and his wife asked him about Chadwick, and she was like, "Oh, how does Chadwick act in person and this and that?" he was like, he said something that was a disillusion of what Chadwick really is. He said Chadwick on set, he had a pamperer, he had somebody massaging his shoulders, he said he had somebody checking, you know, certain things, and he was just like, oh, he's just the Black Panther, he let it blow up or something like that, whatever. But he didn't know at the time that Spike Lee's movie was in the, you know what I mean, in the midst of all this. He was getting all that pampering for a reason. But he didn't know that. It kind of changed his perception of who Chadwick was. Right. And then he said when it happened, he was like, oh, well, that's why. And that's it. So
keep it as least stress on as possible.
Exactly. So, man, it's just crazy, the portrayal thing.
And that just goes to show, I mean, it speaks to his work ethic. It's like this man did not let... Here we, you know I complain sometimes about the smallest things. This man had cancer, was still going and giving his all.
I mean, that's the thing. Like,
I want this movie to happen.
I think
because I really keep thinking about it. I was like, how does that feel? Like, I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's like I always be thinking about like how, because definitely going in the entertainment realm that we're going in, it's like you never know what heights you're going to reach or whatever. Yeah. And a lot of times I feel like we glamorize the fame and the fortune or this, that, and the third, but it's like we don't recognize the fact that there are other variables that will be there.
Yeah.
And that was his variable. Right. So it's like how to be happy with something like, you know, being Black Panther, but being having the same problem. I feel like that is a very hard thing to.
It is.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what I was going to bring up. Like, it's honestly a lot of it's because white America, what you guys did to us in the past has made us as Black people so much stronger. And basically that's why we are the most adaptable people ever. Like, we can adapt, we can adjust. You won't hear us going around looking for a handout or complaining about mental illness because we know how to take care of that stuff.
We're more likely to be in denial about it
exactly.
than to accept it.
I have a, like, even though that might be the case, we don't, and we might not even realize it. We're not like looking for, like, he could have came out easily, like with the cancer thing, just like a lot of people come out with their mental illness thing and looking like once again with the victim thing.
And they exactly. They're doing it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and they're doing it for the wrong reasons. But once again, I feel like we're Black, like we're stronger. We don't even need to let people know. Like we got this. Right. I could shoot a movie with cancer. You know, and
it's done.
It's done. Actually,
it's done.
Box office knockout.
Yeah. Like, Black Panther was one of the biggest, the biggest grossing film of all time. So
he did his thing, and you know, just shout out to that, his career, what he was able to accomplish, because Black Panther was his biggest role, but that's not the first role that he did. He had great roles,
of course,
and he killed them all, like all equally as great. He's been doing this for a long time, a very long time, and I think people sometimes don't acknowledge the work the artist put in before that big break or that peak.
Also,
how you said about Big Sean.
Yeah.
Or we were saying something similar, I feel like.
Also, us as Black men, when we get to that certain age, get your checkups. Make sure you get your checkups, because catching things early is really big. You know what I mean? So that's that.
That's a great point. That is a great point.
That's true.
And don't let them tell you that you don't need it because you're too young. Because that's what they said to me. But I made them do it.
Look. And if you think something's wrong, I mean, get a checkup. I'd rather be safe than sorry. Because, I mean, I would even say, Black men especially.
I would say girls are usually really good with going to the doctor.
Yeah, because we're usually like, every little thing is kind of... I want to get that checked out. But I mean, Black people in general, because we tend to not have the health insurance or like things like that. It's inconvenient. You know, we'll put those things on the back burner because it's inconvenient. When it's like, no, our health is our number one priority. Number one priority.
And mental health and mental health.
But I think that definitely it's another subject, but that definitely goes to how we're all raised, to be honest. Sometimes when we're sick as a dog and we go to our mom like, yo, I'm sick, she gonna be like, you ain't dead or some shit like that.
Drink
you know what I mean? Drink some ginger ale, go to school. Like,
take a nap.
We just used to being strong.
Drink some water, that's the one.
We just used to being strong. Yeah, just
like, and that goes back to what Marc was saying. We're adaptable because we've always had to be. Always had to be.
I mean, we was in the slave fields. We've been doing this. Our body is programmed since the slave time, since our brought us here. We was in the fields. You guys had your feet up. It's been instilled in us since the beginning.
Yeah.
So to adapt.
And we'll continue to adapt, but I just want to again acknowledge Chadwick Boseman and I want to thank you for everything that you did. Black Panther, while I have my opinions of it as a movie in itself, what it was able to do for the culture was amazing. And my nephews, they look at Black Panther and that they see themselves. They see themselves and it's just like, I can be a hero. You don't have to always be a thug. I don't always have to play the bad guy or, it doesn't always have to be black trauma. I can be a superhero. And I can be African. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it can.
Maybe that's, because I kind of failed to see that binary when I watched it. Like, of like the thug versus the not thug.
Because
now that you say that, I'm kind of thinking about it, like, I guess, in a sense, that's kind of what the movie projected.
Yeah. And it was the American guy
who could be a superhero.
He could be a superhero. And another good thing about Black Panther is it shows him being hesitant to help. This fellow black man who is in a different situation, his brother, family. But that's a real struggle in the black community. We have black people who are woke and see the bigger picture and can help, but like they would rather shun the next black man.
Put themselves on a pedestal.
Put themselves on a pedestal and stunt instead of like educating or enlightening their fellow black man. And that's, more work that we have to do in the black community that's going to get done.
And it's going to start with a
major shout out to Chadwick. We appreciate you. We love you. And unfortunately, we are giving you your flowers when it's too late. And that happens way too often in the black community as well. We need to give our black men, our black women their flowers. I know I be bashing y'all, but I truly do love my people. And he was a good representation of just someone following their dreams and doing them, minding their business. But I do want to just go into the last segment. Everyone just shout out a product or something, an item, something they feel like more people should know more about, whether it be a book, a movie, a film, music. What y'all feel like more people should be aware of?
Start
with Marc.
We're in New York, so we are working, all of us, working on a movie called Tonic. Kris, Marshall, and Chanté, they wrote the movie. Yeah. So, and they both have Jade and Makai. They're in the movie. I'm in the movie. This is the director. So we're all involved.
You can't see the camera guy, but he's right there.
Shout out Agent Marc. So.
I'm Agent Marc in the movie. So yeah, that's why we're all in New York for Tonic. So everybody check in when y'all watching this. Tonic is going to be coming out sooner than later. So
2021.
2021. Tonic, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes,
sir.
Alright, Jordie.
I'll shout out 19 Crimes because it's a black-owned brand by Snoop Dogg, but it's wine, and I know we all like our elixirs out there. So if you want to get lit or you want, a slight turn up, get you some 19 Crimes if you see it. It's a cool bottle. You can use the app.
Get the app,
and it'll tell you the crime that the person on the bottle did.
What to serve it,
which is kind of cool.
The temperature to serve it.
With the temperature you're gonna serve it at.
It tells you also what foods to eat.
That complements it.
That complements it. And there was something else on the app will tell you as well. I forgot.
But check it out.
Check it out.
It's just nice. It's smooth. And hey, we all like to turn up here and there.
Period. I'm gonna shout out my man's brand, A Casual.
Oh, okay.
Of course. I mean, this is my best friend of 10 years plus, so I just love to see him just doing everything he set out to do. I watched this whole casual thing unfold, and I'm just so proud. You guys cop your t-shirts, man. T-shirts and accessories. Shout out your website.
Casualbrand.bigcartel.com.
Period.
I think I got this book that people should check out. You should read the book, The Secret. If you're feeling lost of your intentions in life or anything like that, that's a good book to read.
Honestly, I think that's a great.
Is that by Robert?
No, not by Robert Greene. I forgot who it's by, but if you type in The Secret, it pops.
It pops. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, honestly, that's a great note to leave on.
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point, everybody feeling a little lost.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what tomorrow brings.
Right, we really don't. Y'all, COVID happened in March. I thought by September we would be back on track. I thought life would be normal. We wouldn't even be talking about COVID anymore.
Right.
But apparently we supposed to be quarantined for 14 days, but that ain't happening.
We here, y'all. We here.
We here and we talking to y'all. But thank you guys so much for tuning in to our 7th episode of TaeTalkTV. Again, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time on the very next episode at our new location.
Hey.
Until next time, y'all. TaeTalk, we out.